The sage forgot his true nature. This is what happens to consciousness. And the sage took on the life of a householder, lived with his family for about 16 years until this ascetic came by and told him that everything is of the nature of dream. The sage said, "If this is the nature of dream, I consider all this real." This might be what most people would say when they're told this. Okay, you call it a dream, but it's real to me. It doesn't really matter what you call it. It's real. I'm just going to get on with it. The ascetic replied, "If the real can come into being, then it is possible to consider something else as real too. When the reality of the former itself is doubtful, how can one affirm the reality of the latter?" So, if the real can come into being, then it is possible to consider something else as real too. Well, if you consider this real, what about when you're in a dream? When you're asleep and dreaming, you consider that real too. Can they both be real? If you really accept that this is of the nature of a dream, then what about somebody else's dream? Or what about your dreams when you're asleep? And you're going to accept these as real also. But if you say that one of them is a dream, how can you assert the reality of another dream? If you're going to assert that one particular dream is real, then what about all the other dreams? And to accept that dream is real means that you're accepting something which you would normally classify as unreal, as just dream, as real. On the other hand, even the original creation is like a dream. It is but an illusory appearance. And what's the original creation here? We could understand the original creation as that reality, which we feel that we always come back to. We say, well, when we wake up, this is the reality we wake up to. It doesn't matter what weird and wonderful experiences we have when we're dreaming, when we're asleep and dreaming, or when we're daydreaming, or when we're watching a movie and getting caught up in that reality, or listening to a story or music or whatever. We come back to this one. This is our original reality, which we depart from and come back to. Again, that's part of the feeling of reality that consciousness gives us. You can have the same thing in a dream. I've had a dream where I've woken up. I've even had dreams in my dream. And I'll have memories. That's the reality I've come back to. That's the one I'm familiar with. It's all been created at that particular moment by consciousness. The whole feeling that this is real, that this is our original reality, that's the reality of consciousness. That's the feeling that consciousness gives us, that consciousness gives itself. But it is but an illusory appearance. Though devoid of earth and all the rest of it, it appears to have, etc. O teacher of the hunter. The sage is actually in the process of telling this to a hunter. The original dreamlike creation of the world and also the dream that we experience now are both unreal. The original dream of the Creator is often referred to as the dream of Brahma, but there's only the one dream going on, and this is the dream that's happening right now. And the original dream is that feeling that this is the one that we're always coming back to. This is obviously my interpretation, but I think it's a more meaningful interpretation rather than to get caught up in the notion of the dream of Brahma, because it is only a notion. What we have right now is a sense that this is the reality, because it's the one that we keep coming back to. So this dream that we experience now, as well as the original dream creation, is whether we consider that the dream of Brahma or that feeling that this is the reality we keep coming back to, this experience or this belief is unreal, it's insubstantial. The present dream has the objects seen already as its material. We believe that we've seen them already. This is the feeling that we have. This video camera that I'm looking at now is the same as the one I was looking at yesterday, and so on. So it's real, it hasn't gone away. But again, this is the feeling that I've got, this is the memory, these are the memories that have been created by consciousness at this very moment. The dreamlike creation appears in space, as if it had been seen before. This is what happens in dreams. When we're in a dream, we're not walking around saying, oh, this is all new. Oh, this is my home, but it looks completely different to my usual one. This room of mine is not the one I usually wake up in. When I wake up in my room in my dream, it's the one I've always been in. Why do you hesitantly say, as if in doubt, I think the dream is real? When you experience this world as if it were real, how does a doubt concerning its real nature arise? Basically, we need to convince ourselves all the time. Our whole education, our whole cultural conditioning is about convincing us that the world is a certain way. We need to become unconvinced. We need to be prodded out of this habitual conviction that we undertake, this habitual assertion that the world here is something real, that I, as a personality, am a real entity, that it's all concrete. Reality is concrete, but not the reality we've convinced ourselves exists. And the ascetic's given the sage a little poke here and called him the teacher of the hunter. And the sage tells the hunter, I interrupted the ascetic's speech and asked him, how and why did you refer to me as the teacher of the hunter? Because the sage has yet to meet the hunter. So we'll find out how that contributes to the sage's awakening, or his reawakening, in the next video.